I've been playing in bands forever, and I've always gone to other places to record. I've always been in studios with engineers, with producers, with people who are, more or less helping to run the show. And I just kind of, I wanted to know how to do it on my own. Because that initial fascination with having a proof of your work. So I started building my studio, and it's gone from me working on indie projects literally in a closet in my apartment to, me having this because I stayed after it and because I believed that I could do it. And I always made it a point to learn the ways in which I was trying to expand my studio before committing to anything, so that I knew it would apply to my life and I knew that it would apply to my setup. You get a job working on a project because you know somebody who's making a film or making a TV show or making a video game, and they need music. And, the first thing you want to know is, well, what type of music are we doing for it? They might give you examples, they might know exactly what they want, but the most fun projects are when they say, what do you think? The process of actually finishing any kind of audio for any kind of medium, aside from just listening to it, is so long. It's such a long process, and there's so many versions, and there's so many different ideas that get shot back and forth. I've done entire cues, entire scenes, entire projects where you essentially at some point decide that you're just going to start over, which is crazy, but it's what you do because you love it and you want to do it. It's never this begrudging thing where you're like, oh, I have to do that. It's more like, oh, I get to do this. I knew there were certain pieces of gear that I definitely needed, and a lot that I just wanted, to make my life easier. But now I'm at the point where I feel like I've really got a grasp on my setup. The workflow that I'm currently using, I developed based on research that I'd done on other composer setups, and then sort of figured out a way to apply it to my life. Because as you can see, this is, it's a one-room studio. It's my place. I run everything. I do it all essentially on my own. And I knew that because of how crazy deadlines can get, and because of the amount of work that I've had to do this past year especially, that I wanted to have a way to automate a lot of stuff. And that's when I sort of decided to go audio over IP. I would say that I went the Focusrite Red direction because of access. Being that they all use Dante, and it's quickly becoming widespread in terms of the number of companies that will work with it, that was the appeal for me. And having heard people talk about how it essentially was just plug and play, assuming that your network is set up the right way, and the fact that the latency is so crazy good, all huge factors that were important to me and my workflow. Having my network set up the way that it is saves me a lot of time in the long run. Maybe it's only 30 minutes or an hour if I'm using a mix template per project, but that adds up, and those are hours that I'm not going to get back otherwise. I called Vintage King when I first started wanting to set up the audio over IP thing, and I reached Troy first, and just how willing Troy was to help with my situation and how much he was willing to listen to what I was trying to accomplish, and what a huge asset he was in figuring it all out. It's really nice to be in a place where I wake up and every day I say, I'm so glad to live here. I'm so glad this is where I get to be. This is what I get to do. And walking into this studio every day, it's like pinch me. You know, I never thought I would have that feeling anywhere that I lived.